So look what I did this year. I actually grew some greens for my birds and my bunnies, and it's growing really nicely. This is actually canary seed. I just planted a bunch of canary seed. It's growing really high. And this is millet. I just put a big long piece of spray millet in there, and I'm gonna have to cut some of this down and feed it to my animals. And it's growing really nicely. It's really tall. I think only half of it grew, the other half didn't grow, but anyways, there it is. And these are just a bunch of mixed greens, like lettuces, and there's chard, I believe, and arugula, and some parsley. Anyways, isn't it beautiful? Look how yummy that looks, and I can eat that as well. I can make a nice salad. So I'm gonna cut some up or cut some off, and it'll continue to grow. So I can just cut a little bit and feed it to my animals, and continue to feed it to them as it grows. So I'm going to show you the process and what I did and how I grew all this. I used 2 of these elevated garden boxes. They're 35.5 inches long, 15 inches wide, and 32 inches high. It's pretty easy to put together. They just come in pieces like this, and my handy husband put it together for me, which just took a minute. Very simple. It comes with a liner just to keep the soil inside, as otherwise it will just fall through the holes. And there was tape. You just unpeel the tape and stick it to the sides. I used organic soil. We chopped up all the soil to make it nice and fine. And it's all ready for planting. These 2 planters fit just perfectly against my shed. It looks really nice. And these are the seeds that I'm going to be planting. Some arugula, some parsley, endive, Swiss chard, and different lettuces. And I just got 2 of them that are organic. Organic is better, but I couldn't find any more organic. Now it's time to sow the seeds. Now if you read the back of the package, it'll tell you how far down to go into the soil. I just estimated, just use my fingers. Maybe I went down about 1 inch. You don't want to go too far deep where they can't reach the top of the soil when they start to grow. And so I'm putting all the seeds that I bought into the right garden box, because I'm going to be planting something else into the left garden box. And this is the last seed. So I'm pretty much done with this garden box and the other garden box. Look what I'm planting. I'm actually going to try this. I'm just going to plant a whole millet spray. I just dug a little trough and I'm going to place it into the hole. You know, I could have just took off some seeds and put it in there, but I really wanted to try this to see what's going to happen. I found this interesting as I was watching it grow. Then I decided to grow some canary seed. I have canary, so I had the seed available. And I'm just going to place it all around the millet just to see if it grows and what happens and what it's going to look like. And probably all my birds will like it. Maybe my canaries will like it. I've never grown canary seed before, so I'm very excited to see what it's going to look like in the end. And now I'm just going to give it a good soaking. I watered this daily. Have to keep it really wet so the seeds can start to germinate. Just giving it a good drenching. And look, this is day 7. So I told you some of the seeds grow at different rates, and this is day 7. Some of them say they start at day 7, and I see some growth. I'm so excited when I see this. You can see the soil lifting up and the greens are coming out of there. And this is day 14 after 2 weeks. Look at the millet. You see that in the middle? Looks like a big caterpillar. Sort of like when I sprouted spray millet. It looks like that. And the canary grass is growing as well. And look at all the lettuces. All the lettuces are growing. This is just 2 weeks after I planted them. The parsley's going to take the longest because it takes, I think, 3 weeks to grow. And here is the third week, 21 days later, after I planted the seeds. And look at the canary grass is growing. The millet is growing, but the left side of the millet kind of died off and stopped growing. The right side is still growing. And all the lettuces are coming up. The parsley is starting to come up. You can see in the top right corner. That's the parsley. This is week 4. Look how beautiful and big it is. So 28 days later, after I planted the seeds, this is what I got. It's growing. The millet's growing. The canary grass is growing. Look how full it is. I'm so excited. All the lettuces are growing. The parsley's still taking its time. And one of the other ones are, I think it's arugula. But it's growing. They're all growing. It's nice. It's edible now. Except for the parsley, that's going to grow. But look at it. Isn't it beautiful? I'm so excited. And this is week 5. It's definitely ready for feeding. Look how big it got. And there's the parsley. It's growing nicely. Look at all the different lettuces. They're so beautiful. I've never grown lettuces before or any greens or anything like that. I've grown flowers, I've grown tomatoes, but never none of this. It's look at this. Look at the millet. The canary grass. That's really big. I use this plant netting. It's very lightweight. And just use these little small nails that we put in the shed to hold it up with. You can barely see them. I just kind of hook it over. And then it's just attached, all the way around the shed. It's very lightweight and bendable, movable. The plants can even grow through it, but I didn't want them to grow through it. If I pull it off, it would pull off the leaves. So there's some nails there. And I basically just put it around the garden. Use twist ties to hold it on the legs. This is to prevent the squirrels from getting in there and burying their food, or any animals getting in. The rabbits can't reach us, of course, because it's up high, and that's why I used the elevated garden, because I have rabbits in my yard, and they would definitely eat it all. And there's just some plastic there to fill the holes. My husband put this together. It's easy to take off, and yeah, it's okay to take off now once it's grown. But when it was small, the squirrels would go in there and bury their nuts. And I use these sticks to hold it up so it doesn't really squash the leaves. Just a bunch of sticks. They almost look like perches. So this is how I protected my garden. Just to give you some tips on how you want to protect your garden. If you grow anything in the ground, you can definitely use these plant nettings. There we go, nice and safe. And now it's time to feed them to my animals. I'm just clipping off some leaves from various areas as the plant will continue to grow and hopefully last me throughout the summer until the cold weather. So there's a lot of greens here to go around for everybody, and there's way too much for my animals to eat them all in one day. So I'm just clipping a little bit from each one, and I'm going to give them to them and see if they like them or what their favorite one is. I know they love Swiss chard, and we'll see what happens. But so now I'm going to wash them just to make sure they're clean, especially from any bugs or any, droppings or anything like that. Always want to make sure everything's nice and clean. I even wash them when I get them from the grocery store. And here's the fun part. I'm going to give them to my birds and my rabbits. So I like to put some greens in a bowl and put some chop on top as they can decide, what they want to eat. Some of the birds love the chop, some of them love the greens. So I got a mixture of the greens from the garden. And there's Sky, my budgie. He's checking out the greens. And one of my bored parakeets. Oh, and he just chased away, splashed my other budgie. You're a brave work, aren't you? Oh, tasting the greens there. Oh, and again. I think she's drinking the water off of the leaves. Oh, here comes another one. That's Raindrop. I can tell by the colors on her back, and her tail feathers fell out recently. She's growing them back. And here's Nightshade. Nightshade loves greens. I think that's the curled lettuce. It's one of the lettuces. He seems to like it. And here comes Summer. She tasted the green, but she's back into the chop again. Here comes Splash the budgie. He's going right for the greens. That's good. And Summer's got to chase him away. Summer thinks she's boss of the food section. She's the manager. Look at her digging. She digs like a chicken. And I'm going to hook some up here onto the play stand here in Summer. You can see Summer waiting patiently for the food. Just going to try it up here. That's the chard, I believe. I find all my birds love Swiss chard. Do yours? If you haven't tried Swiss chards, try it. They all seem to love Swiss chard. And here's Nightshade, trying out the greens that I attached to the play stand. He's molten. That's what all those little white things are on his head. They're little pin feathers. New feathers that are growing in. And here's Jack. He's checking out all the food. I think he's eating the chop parts, and he did have some bites of the greens earlier that I didn't catch on camera. And Galaxy is trying out the greens. Look at him go. Galaxy is a Sierra parakeet. And here's one of my Borks. I usually don't know who they are unless they turn around. I can see the color of their tail. But this one looks like, might be Ruffles. But look at her go. She likes it. And this is Monty. He's checking out the greens and testing them. I think that's chard that he's eating on top. I'm not sure. As I told you before, they love chard so much. They really like that. There's Galaxy in the background and Willow at the bottom there. They all want a piece. Oh, there goes Willow. That's the canary seed that I planted. Look at her grabbing it. That's so cute. Well, I'm sure that all my birds are going to love this fresh greens right from the garden. Look at Willow go. She's having a great time. So let's go give some to my bunnies and see if they like them. And here's my bunnies. This is Daisy, and look at her go. She's like swallowing them all up. Daisy's over 8 years old. I'm not sure how old she is, as I found her in a park about 8 years ago. She could be 9, she could be 10, 11, I don't know. And I do have another bunny. He's going to make an appearance in a minute. Daisy's just chewing up her food. Look how cute that is. And there's his ears. That's Jellybean. Jellybean's 2 years old. I adopted him from Animal Services. If you want to hear their story, let me know, and I possibly will make a video about them. If you want to see more videos on avian nutrition and what to feed your pet birds, well, check out the video on the screen, as I have many videos on what I feed my birds. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.